Welcome back to the Garden Hutch. Today we'll discuss week 50 of 2022. Let's get going. Well, week 50 started off cold and wet, and it finished up cold and sunny, I guess is the best way to put it. Believe it or not, there are some things, though, that I wait until this time of year to do. I enjoy being outside and doing certain tasks when it's, 40, 45 degrees. The thing we had to worry about this week was one or two of the days where it was sunny, the wind was stupid. I think it was like 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts sometimes. So not a whole lot you can do about that. You come outside, you don't want to try to rake leaves when it's 40 miles an hour or whatever. Luckily, the topsoil was wet, so I was able to shovel some of that during the windy times. So what we're going to do today is we got a few of our winter tasks completed this week. So we're going to go through and look at all that. It's also going to be time for us to pull some of the last vegetables from our garden. Week 41 looks like it's going to be pretty brutal. The lows are going to be, I don't know, I think the low right now is projected at 3, and that's Fahrenheit. We don't get 3 degrees Fahrenheit here in Arkansas very often at all. So we'll go over what we're doing to prep for that and that sort of thing. Before we get too far into this, though, if you have not, please do us a solid and hit that little subscribe button. You can hit the little bell icon. YouTube will let you know when we upload new content. And if you like what we're doing, give us a thumbs up. It kind of helps us get recommended to new folks. All right, with all that being said, let's go take a look. I wanted to throw this in here real fast. We had mentioned earlier that it's going to be down to 3 degrees Fahrenheit. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so we had to think about the chickens and their water. So it does get below freezing routinely, and we kind of have we keep one waterer inside overnight, and then we just bring it out in the daytime, and we don't usually have to worry about it. However, there's going to be a 3-day period where it's not going to be above freezing, and the lows are going to be really low. So what we've done is my uncle has loaned us an electric waterer, and all it does is keep the water at about 45 degrees so that it doesn't end up freezing all the time. So I just kind of wanted to throw that in here. If you have chickens or if you have any sort of animals out there and you're kind of in the way of this little winter blast that's coming through, that's something to think about now as opposed to in a couple days when everybody else is addressing that. Also may want to get some of the de-icer if you're in an area that's going to get a lot of snow or ice. We're not projected to get a lot of it, so and I always keep a little bucket of the ice melt in there. Anyway, so let's get on to kind of what we've done this week. Last week we had raked the compost and things to get ready for this, but what I did this week, I went through, I shredded a bunch of leaves, and I took some of the topsoil, a few other amendments, and I put them in the beds, and then I thoroughly mixed them all together. It was a bit of a hassle because I had to wait till the afternoon when everything thawed out, but you can see here the way it's nice and fluffy now. There's a lot of organic material in there. So the last thing that we have to do here is probably the second week of January, I'll go through and get a few yards of some organic compost. I just simply don't have enough to top my beds off here on the homestead. So I do use our own compost. It's just not enough to fill these large beds yet. That's something I really want to improve on going forward. But anyway, this was a huge project for us getting done, is getting these beds filled up. We wanted to raise the actual soil level in there. The chickens are helping to mix the top layers up. But one of the things that we really want to get completed is I need to get some of the chicken wire around these. We're going to go with an 18-inch chicken wire and just put it around there to keep the chickens out. They'll be able to fly over it if they really want to, but I've been really surprised how just really small things, like I said, 18 inches, 24 inches, things like that, have been an effective deterrent for the chickens. So anyway, we'll see how that works throughout the course of the spring and into the summer. Another thing that we got completed, you can see we added that topsoil that we got at such a discounted price. I've added it on here into our strawberries, and you can see even through this super cold spell that we have, they're starting to grow through it. I'm hoping that the roots, because I put about 2.5 inches of this on there, So I'm hoping that the roots will not freeze through this really cold snap. So what I'll probably end up doing is later on today, I'll go through and take additional leaves and probably put them a couple inches on there to add another barrier to prevent the freeze. What's up, buddy? Cats are out having their good time between now and the time the weather hits. You can see these guys are coming along really well. We actually had some of these onions in our salads. Now they are looking a little sad today. It got down to about 12 degrees last night. But as soon as the sun hits them, they perk right back up. So it's kind of amazing how resilient some of these plants are. Well, up next, I kind of wanted to go through and let you know our plans for the rest of this year here in the top garden. Kind of go over what's in there now, because we're actually still eating out of it for a few more days anyway. Before we did that, though, this morning Leslie and I came out and pulled some carrots. So let me go ahead and throw that in right here.
This is our favorite part of the season. Oh yeah, guys, look at those. Ha ha! Ray had to talk about it too. Might as well just take all 3 from that cluster.
Yeah, those will go great in the salads.
Yeah. Try not to pull them all just because I want some to get big, but each row has, oh guys, look at this. This is the one. Fingerling carrots.
So this right over here obviously is the bed Leslie pulled those carrots out of. The first half down here, those fingerlings are starting to look really good. They're really sweet. I'm impressed. We were a little disappointed they didn't have the larger carrot seeds when we went to buy these, but they seem to turn out really good. They taste really good. So going forward, we're going to go back to growing the bigger carrots, but you know, that's all they had, and they're starting to produce. But anyway, so this other half of the bed was planted 3 weeks afterwards. So we're hoping that that gets done before it's time to put our cabbages in this year. We'll go over all of our garden plans after the first of the year. So, but you can see over here, we're hoping that some of those carrots come up as well. All of these beds have been cleaned out now, and I've added some amendments to set in there. I'll go through and fork them probably once a week, especially if we're going to have a mass amount of rain. I like to fork them and create a little air pockets for them to be able to absorb extra water. Also helps it like drain more free, that sort of thing. But this is really what I wanted to show you besides just the carrots. But you can see how well some of these lettuces are still doing. We've been eating on these a lot lately. We've had a salad every day for, I don't know, since we put this in, I suppose. But you can see it's starting to get cold enough now. That guy right over there, it succumbed. Some of the outside leaves, you can see they look a little fragile. But what I'll go through today and do is I'll go through and take all of these out, and the leaves that are still good, we'll go ahead and create one last winter salad before it's time to put it up for the year. We'll also go through and pull any of the beets that are of really good size. I'm not sure how they're going to make it, but you know, if they're not big enough, you know, whatever, we'll leave them in and see how they do. But any of the beets that are big enough to pull, we'll do that, and then we'll just add them raw right into the salad mix that we're going to pull today as well. Before we moved on from the top garden, I just wanted to go ahead and kind of give you an idea. Hopefully by the time we come back next week and go through our vlog, this will be completed. But we still have quite a bit of topsoil left. So what I would like to do is I'm going to go through here all the way down this row, and we're going to try to take out this slope. You can, hopefully the camera does it justice, but there's a relatively good slope from where these beds are over. So what I would like to do is fill this whole row in here and make it sort of level across. And I'll probably go ahead and bury this guy up here. I'm planning on growing some squash in these buckets out here this year to see how they do. But anyway, the idea is to go ahead and level this off a little bit. It'll help with some of the water runoff. It'll also improve the moisture retention in our permanent carrot bed over here, having the dirt sort of built up on the outside of the bed. Well, as you just saw, Leslie's been really busy with the leaves, right? We like to rake them and we put them in the walkways of our gardens, that sort of stuff. We covered them originally with wood chips, and we've kind of found out since then that if you just go through and put 3 or 4 inches of oak leaves early in the winter, the chickens help break them down, and it really does work as a weed deterrent, which is something we're always looking for here on the homestead. Any way to keep weeds out, or having to do that whole tedious weeding thing, it's not my favorite. Anyway, I hope everyone has a Merry Christmas. Please make sure that if you're in the path of this winter storm that you take precautions, make sure you leave your water running, that sort of thing, if that's required in your area. Until next time, I hope that everybody takes care of themselves. Peace.